So it is 9:30. This is the committee meeting for the Atlanta City Council's Transportation Committee. My name is Andre Dickens. I have the pleasure of serving as your chairman. So Ms. Pulandini, would you please do the roll call as we've called this meeting to order? So it is 9:30.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Antonio Brown.
Meeting for the Atlanta City Council's Transportation Committee.
Councilmember Amir Foki. Councilmember Jennifer Ives. Councilmember J.P. Matsakite.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Councilmember J.P. Matsakite.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Overstreet. Present. Thank you. Councilmember Westmoreland.
Here.
Thank you. And I believe Councilmember Winslow is also on the line.
And Faruqi is as well. Sorry if I missed my name.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a quorum. Line muted.
Okay, great. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for being here, Councilmember Winslow, as a guest of this committee, but someone who has been on transportation before, and also you have a couple of agenda items here, one particularly related to Mosley Park.
Right.
So I will call you up at that time when that agenda item is there. So
thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. So we called this meeting to order. We've introduced the members. Now it's time for Ms. Pulandini to read their remote meeting statement.
This Transportation Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which is noted on the March 19, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlanta.ga.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Transportation Committee presentation page. The agenda for this meeting was published and made available on March 19, 2021 via atlantacitygA.icmc.com, and the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6059 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to mute your phone. Is requested to mute your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Pulandini. All right, now I make a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Second, Matsakite. Second, Westmoreland.
Okay, we have Matsakite as a second. Let's prepare our vote on the adoption of the agenda.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? Councilmember Westmoreland, may I have your vote, please?
In favor.
Thank you. And the vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Now I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Westmoreland.
All right. Seconded by Westmoreland. Let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
All right, now it's time for public comment. We only have one public comment. Damon tried to play a joke on us guys and tell us that there are 183, and he was being silly, but I almost had a heart attack. But anyway.
Yeah, he's on loan to DPW. He's running fleet, but he is officially
Oh,
He's officially
whoever,
employed by Watershed, but he is on loan.
whoever is
to DPW
on the
to
line
run fleet.
talking about DPW, if you can mute your phone. Okay. So, Damon, if you could please play the public comment.
Your conference is being recorded.
One moment, please. We're just queuing up that comment.
Ms. Pulandini, is it possible we can move on or go to someone else play it a different way?
Yeah, I could read in the first read if you would like, and we could come back to the comment.
Yes, please, let's do that.
Okay. Item number 1, 21-0-0192, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend the FY 2021 Airport Passenger Facility Charge Fund and Aviation Encumbrance Program budget by transferring to an appropriations a total amount of $10,971,157.00 for reimbursement of the Aviation Encumbrance Program and for the purposes. Item number 2, 21-0-0193, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the FY 2021 Airport Passenger Facility Charge Fund budget by transferring to and from appropriations the amount of $40,000,000 to provide funding for various projects at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes. Item number 3, 21-0-0194, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to authorize the mayor or her designee, in accordance with Section 2-1163C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, to ratify contract FC 10171 for the Childress Drive over South Beachway Creek Bridge Replacement Project with Kiewit Infrastructure South Co., and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to pay all outstanding invoices in an amount not to exceed $126,730.13. All invoices to be charged to and paid from the various fund, department, organization, and account numbers and for the purposes. And item number 4, 21-0-0195, An ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to execute all appropriate documents to grant a utility easement across the real property known as 0 Sizemore Avenue Northwest, Atlanta, land lot 247 of the 17th District of Fulton County, Georgia, to the Georgia Power Company for the purpose of installing underground power distribution facilities, waiving any conflicting provisions on Article 10, Division 14, Subdivision 3, Sections 2-1571, 2-1572, and 2-1574 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Okay, thank you for those first reads. Now it sounds like something else is going on. The holding elevator plan. Okay, are we ready for the public comment now?
One moment, please. I'm just checking.
Council members, this is the
Greetings to you, committee members and staff. Special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action this election year. Ben Howard, senior advocate, public policy analyst. People in power seem to have no problem encouraging senior citizens to get on the bus and take a trip to the Beltline. They do have a problem letting those same senior citizens understand how Beltline initiatives like the Special Services District and the Campbellton Road Spur will impact their daily lives. Helping citizens understand what is going on is supposed to be part of the business of a neighborhood planning unit. So with Neighborhood Planning Unit R. Neighborhood Planning Unit R last year by now Vice Chair Peter Robinson and before her by Ricardo Jacobs and by Colas Clear has had no transportation committee ever. Residents of special business places and stakeholders in Neighborhood Planning Unit R were told last year that Campbellton Road Phase 3 would be implemented in 2021. Here we are in March already. The NPUR 9 will not allow Campbellton Road Phase 3 to appear as unfinished business on NPUR agendas because they know that such a topic might draw some of the 20,000 citizens to the NPUR meetings and NPUR 9 would lose control. Given the NPUR 9 shenanigans, there was a need to enact stronger citizen participation legislation. I caution you again that any attempt might make to increase citizen participation at NPUR will be met with fierce resistance from the NPUR 9, Vice Chair Anita Robinson, Colas Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Ned L. Scott, Alfred White, Alvin Hathaway, Sherry Williams, and the underground supporters of the NPUR 9 syndicates.
And that concludes our public comment. Thank you for your patience.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dan Howard, for your comment. All right, we have, I want to take our agenda items first, and then we will go to the airport presentation. That's the only presentation that we have for their quarterly update. So let's jump to the regular agenda items so we can vote on these items and then go back. So Ms. Kulindini, let's read section I, the first ordinance.
Item number 5, 21-0-0155, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to correct ordinance number 20-0-1634, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on November 2nd, 2020, and approved by operation of law on November 11th, 2020, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for the purpose of correcting the dollar amounts associated with the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed therein, all other provisions to remain unchanged, and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Rowland. All right, let's see if we can unmute Mr. Rowland, DOT Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Josh Rowan, Commissioner, Atlanta Department of Transportation. This is some truing up of accounts on this project. When there are federal funds, we have to make sure that our our percentages stay where they need to be. And so this is just some corrective legislation. No overall change to the project, so we recommend approval.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Westmoreland?
Second, Overstreet.
Westmoreland gave his second. Let's take that. Second by Westmoreland.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 6, 21-0-0156, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to authorize the mayor or designee in accordance with Section 2-1163C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to ratify Agreement SC-8249, annual contract for the maintenance and repair of sidewalks, curbs, driveway aprons, and associated infrastructure with SC&C Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and to extend the term on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months retroactively beginning March 1, 2021 to September 1, 2021 with no additional funding required and for the purposes.
All right, so Tina Alexander.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, if I may interrupt, we need to reopen the conference bridge. The public line has been dropped, so could we ask all members and staff on this line to hang up and dial back in, and then we will get back to this item so that the public can hear the discussion and see the vote on this?
Council members, Ms. Fuller, we just hang up and dial right back. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, council members, let's get off of the call and get right back on. All right. Bye.
Okay.
Line muted.
This bridge broke down. So welcome back to the Atlanta City Council Transportation Committee. The technology challenge occurred that basically disconnected the public from the meeting for a very short period of time, so we all had to dial back in. Ms. Colandini, if you could just do a quick roll call to see if all the members were able to get back in.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Ferrocchi?
Here.
Councilmember Ives?
Here.
Councilmember Matsakite?
Here.
Councilmember Overstreet?
Present.
Councilmember Westmoreland?
Here.
And I'll just check for Councilmember Brown. I think all members are present. Or Dickens.
Okay, great. All members are present. So we were on item number 621-0-0156. I don't know when the bridge broke, but I think protocol would be for you to reread it in, and
Yes,
and then we vote on it.
Okay, item number 621-0-0156, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to authorize the mayor or designee in accordance with Section 2-1163C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to ratify Agreement FC-8249, annual contract for the maintenance and repair of sidewalks, curbs, driveway aprons, and associated infrastructure with SC&C Inc. on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and to extend the term on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months retroactively beginning March 1, 2021 through September 1, 2021, with no additional funding required and for other purposes.
Okay, I made a motion, and then Westmoreland, you want to say second again?
Second.
All right, so now let's prepare this vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 7, 21-0-0157, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify FC-119-0443, Transportation Network Company Tracking and Compliance Services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with the American Association of Airport Executives with a retroactive effective date beginning January 1, 2019, on behalf of the Department of Aviation in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Okay, this one is for Mr. Sheldon. If someone could, Mr. Sheldon, are you available?
Yes, I am, sir. John Selden, the General Manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And good morning, Mr. Chairman. And there is a companion resolution, paper number 16, that will go along with this. But this paper is to correct the start date of the legislation a year ago, back from March 27th to January 29th. From January 1st, 2019. This software is our TNC companies, which are Uber and Lyft, self-report, and this software allows us to verify all of the vehicles that come here for pickup, and we receive a fee of $3.85 per pickup, and this is the system we use to track it. It also is on iPads for our staff to ensure that only Uber and Lyft are using our TNC pickup area for picking up customers. So it's a really good system, and we're just correcting the date and the start date, and on the companion resolution corrects the term. And that'll be coming up.
Thank you, Mr. Selden. Ms. Colandini, do you want to read in 16 as well so we can combine them?
Unfortunately, we'll have to take them separately because they're in two separate parts of the agenda, but I can read in the caption for reference if you'd like me to.
No, don't worry about it. We'll just, when the time comes for us to get to number 16, we'll know what it's about. So, all right, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The item is favorable. And if you would like, Mr. Chair, we can take up number 16 now and then come back to the next ordinance.
Sure, let's do 16 then.
Okay, item number 16, 21-R-3266, a resolution by Transportation Committee to amend Resolution 19-R-3294, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on March 18, 2019, and approved by operation of law per city charter section 2-403 on March 27, 2019, authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a special procurement agreement for Transportation Network Company tracking and compliance services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with American Association of Airport Executives on behalf of the Department of Aviation to include the agreement number and correct renewal term for the agreement and for other purposes.
Okay, is this Ms. Cotina Alexander? Oh no, this is, we just read 16 again. So, I'm sorry, we already heard from Mr. Sheldon about the TNCs, so let's go ahead on and vote. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Okay, let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Items 8, 9, and 11 are all papers to install traffic calming devices. Would the committee like to take these 3 papers as a block?
Yes, please.
Item number 8, 21-O-0170, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Ada Avenue Northwest between Hall Street Northwest and Brook Avenue Northwest in order to reduce speeding, to waive certain provisions in Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes. Item number 9, 21-O-0171, an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Eleanor Terrace Northwest between Skipper Drive Northwest and Kings Grant Drive Northwest in order to reduce speeding, to waive certain provisions in Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes. And item number 11, 21-O-0173, an ordinance by Councilmember Amira Froki authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Willoughby Way Northeast between Ashley Avenue Northeast and 830 Willoughby Way Northeast, on Willoughby Way Northeast between Ralph McGill Boulevard Northeast and Ashley Avenue Northeast, and on 12th Street Northeast between Juniper Street Northeast and Piedmont Road Northeast, to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84D of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, and for other purposes.
Okay, Ms. Alexander, let us know if these are all, the department agrees with all these and we can vote favorably on them.
Yes, Katina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. We have studied all of these locations and they have met the speed and volume requirements for speed hump installation, and the legislation waives the petition requirement. We are okay with moving forward with these papers, knowing that they will be installed or placed on the installation list for FY22 funding, if such funding is made available to the department.
Okay, so this is FY22 money and potential installation. Okay.
That's right.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second. Let Matt do it.
All right, Matt Westmoreland seconds. Let's prepare our vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 10, 21-O-0172, an ordinance by Councilmember Amira Froki authorizing the mayor or her designee to install a 3-way stop at the intersection of Mel Avenue Northeast and Iverson Street Northeast, and for the purposes.
Mr. Froki, did you want to comment on this or just let the department speak and we vote?
Only comment is this is a always stop that the neighborhood has been asking for a while, and I'd like to move it through.
Okay, Ms. Alexander.
Okay. Katina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Mill Avenue and Iverson Street are both classified as local roads. with Iverson Street providing connectivity to Iverson Park 2 blocks away. We have studied the intersection, and we are okay with moving forward with the installation of the all-way stop at the intersection of Mill and Iverson.
All right. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second for Amir.
There you go. Second by Saroki. Let's prepare our vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 68 0 This item is favorable. Our next item is number 12, 21-0-0176, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone and Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor or designee to prohibit parking on Collier Ridge Drive Northwest through Section 150-92 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install signage at the appropriate locations along the prohibited area and for other purposes.
All right, Ms. Alexander.
Okay, Collier Ridge Drive is a local road in the Collier Heights neighborhood. It does connect to Peyton Road on the west and Cativo on the east end. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour, and the street width ranges from 24 to 26 feet. All the houses along Collier Ridge have driveways, so the need for off-street parking is reduced. Currently, parking is not restricted at all along Collier Ridge Drive, and we're okay with moving the legislation forward to install no parking signs along this roadway.
Okay. I think you had the connecting streets listed from another road, but definitely agree. This is my neighborhood, actually. So I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Westmoreland. Let's vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 68 0 This item is favorable. Our next item is number 13, 21-0-0185, an ordinance by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor or designee to install speed tables on Market Street, southwest between Wellington Street southeast and Chicago Street southwest. And for the purposes of an amendment to your packet, which has the amount, which is $36,000 and also the funding stream. Okay.
Take the amendment, and then we'll hear from Ms. Winslow in a second. So I make a motion to bring forth the amendment. Is there a second?
Overstreet, second.
Okay. Let's vote on
The amendment to add the dollar amount.
The vote is open.
Ms. Okay, thank you.
Vote is closed. 68 0 This item has been amended.
All right, we have with us today Ms. Winslow, who is over this district, and of course we heard phone calls over the last couple of weeks from this community, and Ms. Winslow has responded. So Ms. Winslow, please let us know what you think.
Yes, and thank you. This neighborhood, Mosley Park, has been trying to get speed humps for at least 2, maybe 3 years. So I really appreciate the Commissioner Rowan working with the community and also with Adolphus Ofer working with my office to help make this possible. I know that funding is limited in terms of speed humps, and that's why I wanted to make sure that part of my Renew Bond money was going to be used for this effort. So I just want to thank everybody for their hard work on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you, Ms. Winslow, and we appreciate you responding to this community and utilizing your Renew money. That's going to be a great use. So thank you for that. Now, council members, I will make the motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
Okay, it's been seconded by Overstreet. Let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended. Our next
Thank
item
you,
is
council members.
Thank you, Ms. Winslow.
Okay.
item number 14, 21-R-3260, a resolution by Councilmembers Andrea L. Boone and Martha Collier Overstreet authorizing the mayor, her designee, to install a portrait of Bishop Barbara Lewis King at the Dr. Barbara Lewis King Interfaith Chapel at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for the purposes.
All right, let's go with Mr. Sullivan.
John Selden, the general
Well,
manager.
first, actually, before you, Mr. Sullivan, Ms. Overstreet, would you like to kind of tell us about this legislation?
Sure. So when we first did legislation to name the Interfaith Chapel and Atrium after Bishop Barbara King, she asked then for a portrait. And, you know, they wanted to make sure that everything was streamlined and that the chapel represented, but only did it in a certain way. Well, now that we no longer have her, I just agree with Councilmember Boone that we should revisit placing her portrait there because of all of her amazing work internationally.
Yes, good. Thank you for that, Ms. Overstreet. And yeah, she passed away this summer during COVID. So we definitely have the opportunity to continue to celebrate her legacy at this airport. Mr. Sheldon, give us an update on the installation.
John Selden, the general manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Sir, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Yes, we are looking for the portrait, and we are going to work to make sure that the size and the fit is within the chapel constraints and it complies with our airport design standards, and we put it in an appropriate location, and we'll get started on that as we work with, I guess, the artist that's going to paint the portrait. But we're looking forward to doing that since the chapel is named after her. It would be great to have a portrait of her in the chapel or somewhere in the vicinity.
Okay.
So that's great news. So I'd like to move approval.
Okay. Motion by Overstreet. Mr. Westmoreland, you want to second it? Or are you electronic now?
Either. Second.
Okay. All right. Let's prepare our vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 15, 21-R-3256, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor, her designee, to execute amendment number 1 to the airport use and lease agreement with Delta Airlines, Inc. that allows the surrender and addition of certain space on Concourse C for design and construction of an airline club and related projects at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The reimbursement as may be escalated by the engineering news record, building index to Delta, and an amount not to exceed $33,100,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for the purposes.
Okay, Mr. Selden.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So right now on Concourse C, there are two very small clubs located. One is actually on the ramp level. It is not at provide the level of customer service and experience that our partners at Delta are hopeful for. So what this is Delta is going to build the total space of those two clubs is 9,000 square feet. Those are going to be returned to us for commercial development. And Delta, on top of our Concourse C, is going to build a 20,000 square foot club up on the roof of the existing concourse, and that will replace the two smaller clubs, and we will reimburse them up to the $33.1 million. And this will be an excellent advantage for our Delta Sky Club members that operate out of Concourse D. Thank you.
All right. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
All right, let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 17, 21-R-3267, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to enter into a cooperative purchasing agreement CP-S-1210243 Aviation Smart Chatbot on behalf of the Department of Aviation with Fairsoft Technology Corporation through a cooperative purchasing agreement participating addendum pursuant to Nashville Value Point Cloud Solutions 2016 to 2026, administered by the Utah Master Agreement number AR2472 between Fairsoft Technology Corporation and Georgia Department of Administrative Services for cloud computing solutions at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 2 years in an amount not to exceed $146,853.77. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, Mr. Selden.
Yes, sir. So we're looking to join a cooperative purchasing agreement with the Georgia Department of Administration for 2 years for $146,000 for a chatbot. If you're unfamiliar with a chatbot, it is similar to Alexa or Siri. And when you will go to our website, you will be able to ask it questions. And a chatbot actually learns. It's our AI involved. And you would be able to ask it questions. And as different people ask questions, it actually learns and gets smarter. So this is something that we're really looking forward to for our customer service and our customer experience to improve it. That if somebody had a question of where is the closest McDonald's or whatever, the chatbot, right from our website, you could speak to it or text into it and it would answer. So this is exciting. It's leading edge technology and we're looking forward to getting one of these to improve our already award-winning customer experience here in Hartsfield-Jackson. Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Overstreet, second.
Let's vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 18, 21-R-3268, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to enter into an agreement for RFP-S-1210130 ATL Customer Experience Program with ABM All-in-One Security Services, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Aviation to manage the airport customer experience program at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 3 years with 2 3-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $24 million and 0 cents. For the initial term, all contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And there's an amendment in your packet to attach the Independent Procurement Review Office's report.
All right, Mr. Selden.
Yes, sir. So this is exciting for us here. We're going to improve our ATL customer experience program here between ABM and All-in-One Security. These are our customer service reps and volunteers and our social media coordinators. They provide queue management at our TSA checkpoint. They give directions during our construction. They provide ADA assist. And this 3-year, 2-year option, two-year option contract for $24 million. Most importantly, does a couple new things from our old contract. Our old contract, we budgeted for a minimum wage, a bottom line minimum wage of $12 per hour. This contract in our budget, and we have a commitment from the vendor for $15 minimum wage pay. It also increased the number of CSR posts around the terminal from 23 to 28. And it provides us $1 million more for our construction activities to provide for ATLNet, to provide more customer wayfinding and human contact to get people to have people find their way here when construction kind of disrupts the normal flow here. So we're very excited about this contract and looking forward to getting it started. Thank you.
All right, good deal. I am going to make a motion to approve, or do I need to? There's something else I need to listen?
Yes, we need to amend to attach the IPRO report first.
Okay. I make a motion to amend to add the IPRO report. Is there a second?
Second. Overstreet.
All right, let's prepare to vote on the amendment.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
All right, now I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended. Our next item is number 19, 21-R-3269, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to enter into an encroachment agreement with Beltline and Boulevard Owner LLC for the purpose of installing a permanent underground shoring and tiebacks in the Boulevard Southeast right-of-way at 1015 Boulevard Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30312, and for other purposes.
Cotina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. The purpose of this legislation is to grant Beltline and the Boulevard Owner LLC an encroachment agreement for a permanent tieback support system into Boulevard Southeast at 1015 Boulevard Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia. The project will construct a 6-story mixed-use building consisting of 323 rental units, 18,000 square feet of retail space, and 3 levels of above ground and 2 levels below ground parking. We have reviewed all engineering documentation and asked for approval of this legislation.
Okay, I was reading to make sure I understood what I thought I understood. Okay, all right, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, I see a typo.
Oh,
underground shoring. Is that shoring or should it be? Well, maybe it's supposed to be shoring and back.
It is.
It's not that. Okay. Well, second still.
All right.
I was thinking shopping. Sorry.
It's good to double check. Okay. Let's prepare this vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 20, 21-R-3270, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute a utility relocation agreement between the City of Atlanta and Georgia Power Company for the removal, relocation, or investment of electrical and communication facilities owned by the Georgia Power Company that conflict with the Westlake Avenue Bridge Replacement Project on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to remit payment to Georgia Power Company in an amount not to exceed $3,364.00 and for other purposes.
All right, are we going to go with is this Mr. Rowan or is this going to be Cotina Alexander on this one? I think this is you, Mr. Rowan.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
All right, Josh Rowan, Atlanta Department of Transportation. This is a very minor one, our Westlake Bridge replacement. After we evaluated prior rights with utilities, we just had a couple minor issues, as you can see, from $3,000. That's a utility relocation agreement I think we will take any day, so we recommend this for approval.
All right, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 21, 21-R-3271, a resolution by Transportation Committee to correct resolution number 17-R-4584, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on November 20th, 2017, and approved by operation of law on November 29th, 2017. On behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation, for the purpose of correcting the funding source associated with the funds for various sidewalk repairs throughout District 10 in the amount not to exceed $175,000.00. Department, organization, and account number listed herein. All of the provisions will remain unchanged and for the purposes.
Okay, Ms. Alexander, can you tell us if the department wants us to hold this?
Yes, we, Katina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation, we're asking for this to be held. This piece of legislation actually cleans up a previous piece of legislation that deposited some money from Council District 10 when Councilmember Martin was still the council person, and put it into an account in DPW to perform some sidewalk repairs in his district. We're now grouping this money with some of the current council person, Councilmember Boone's renew money to do a broader project in the district. So we're asking this to be held until we can get all the logistics worked out around the project.
All right, I'll make a motion to hold. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item will be held. Item number 22, 21-R-3272, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Georgia Correctional Industries to be designated as CP-G-1210121, City of Atlanta ready-made traffic control signs pursuant to Atlanta Code of Ordinances Section 2-1601, utilizing the agreement between Georgia Correctional Industries and the Georgia Department of Transportation Agreement number 48400-410-IGOMC1901794 for a term of 1 year with 3 one-year renewal options on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation in an amount not to exceed $500,000.00. All contracted work will be purchased and paid from funding numbers listed herein and for the purposes.
Katina Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. Georgia Correctional Industries is a part of Georgia State, and they currently produce and sell traffic control signs. We have in the past purchased a small quantity of signs from this entity, and we are satisfied with the condition and the quality of the signs. We are now asking that we enter into an agreement with them for 3 one-year renewals so that they can produce signs such as our stop signs, our turn restriction signs, lane assignment signs, and pedestrian crossing signs. This will allow us to augment the in-house installation that we currently do, and all of these signs will be installed by our in-house crews. So we're asking for approval of this legislation.
Okay, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable, and that concludes our legislative item.
Okay. Before we go to the aviation department quarterly, Mr. Rowan, there was a question that somebody had asked via they emailed me and asked, do we still have barricades up for the street racing? Have we added more? And is it still being effective? I don't know if you're still on here, Mr. Rowan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Josh Rowan. We have many of the barricades are still up. We're in more of a maintenance mode. You know, the thing to keep in mind with the barricades is we work very closely with APD and we follow their lead when there's a request for barricades. I do know there was one new location that they asked us to take a look at, and we're evaluating that right now. But the other area was we've used them on 10th Street to beef up the cycle track there so that it's not turning into pop-up parking.
Okay. So sometimes you're using these barricades for protection of cyclists and pedestrians, and other times you're using them at the request of APD for some of the street racing calming.
Correct.
Okay. All righty. Thank you very much for that. Okay, now we are going to turn our
Hey,
attention to...
Mr. Dickens?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had my speaker button pushed. Can I just ask Commissioner Rowan a question or two while we have him on the line?
Yes, you may.
One, Commissioner Rowan, I have a couple of emails into ADOT that I'm not getting a response to, so can you kick a few tires for me and ask folks to follow up with me? And the second is, can you give a very, very brief update on how we're doing with some of the tactical urbanism projects of putting more protected bike lanes and that sort of project up? I know we talked about it over the last several months, and I've seen a little bit of it, but would love to just know sort of where you're headed with that.
Yeah, so the ones we're focused on would be the projects in the Mayor's Safer Streets plan. You know, we've done the paving and striping on Cherokee. We've done the paving and striping on Spring Street. The bollards are coming out of a different contract, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay there. And then we're looking at really budgeting for FY22 to see how much of the remainder of the program we can hit. Regarding any of the tactical urbanism, you know, that would be a community-led thing, which we fully support. I don't believe we've seen much activity. I know the folks in East Atlanta Village had done some crosswalk art, which turned out to be just quite fabulous, actually. Would love to do more of that. And related to the tire kicking, I'm doing that right now. You'll be hearing today regarding the dates that you requested.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next I see Mr. Mazzicate.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Dickens. I also had a question for Mr. Rowan and wondered if he could give an update on how we're coming with our Vision Zero and installing the 25 mile per hour signs throughout the city.
Yes, sir, Councilmember Mazzicate. We're doing well. The legislation today is actually an important one for us, where we're going to be able to buy the signs. So we have the capacity to make our own signs, and we do that. We just can't do that at a rate of production as you know a typical sign shop would do. So we're doing this incrementally right now, and once we get this contract in place, you'll see our efforts pick up, you know, pretty drastically with putting the signs up.
Do you want to throw a date out there or some dates out there?
No, when it comes to procurements and contracts, I don't give dates. Once it's in place, you know, we estimated we had 6 to 8 months worth of work to do, so we probably still have another six months worth of work on the sign installation.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Any other council members have any comments or questions for Mr. Rowland or anybody else? Okay.
Well,
right now,
you know what, Councilmember Dickens, maybe I will ask, but I did receive an email back, but at the same time, I'd like to know if the word is true that the Cascade Complete Streets is out for bid officially again.
Councilmember Overstreet, 100% true. It advertised last week.
Fantastic. That's what I needed to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Roy, you might as well give a full update. You're not talking about this. So it's out for bid. That's probably a 30 to 45 day process, and then we go into, you know, so what does it look like for this summer for Cascade?
So there are actually two that advertised last week, DeKalb Avenue and Cascade. And so they'll advertise for a month. The procurement department will receive bids, determine responsiveness, and then we work together to recommend a responsive bidder for award, and that would come before you all for approval and to allow us to execute that contract. So, you know, if things go according to plan, we're looking at a summer start on this project, which is right where we want it to be.
Yep, on both, so that's Cascade and DeKalb.
Cascade and DeKalb. Yeah, we batched those and sent them together. Two separate projects, but they're advertising at the same time.
Yeah, and then so we talked about, once we get to the bids have come back and we are ready for bid selection, to start some community engagement around making the community aware of what does construction look like on these streets that are major connectors and arteries, and they are, there's going to be some detour plans. And Cascade even has some water work, right? Isn't there first some?
So early on in the schedule on Cascade, there's actually a significant amount of storm drainage improvements, and much of the pipe is either in the road or crosses the road. And so there is a planned detour so that the contractor can just close the road and install that pipe.
Right. So we're talking several weeks. That'll
be pretty disruptive.
So, Councilmember Dickens, thank you for talking about public engagement, because I want to make sure that we're going to follow that plan that we all met about when we talked about how we're going to communicate with the community as we implement these detours. We talked about emails and keeping the website updated and maybe using leaflets and the water bills and even robocalls. I mean, we talked about a lot of different ways. And are we still doing that too as we move forward?
So we had sent a letter to everyone. We're at a point now, Councilmember Overstreet, where we really need to identify our winning contractor and get their schedule, because right now it's really just me giving kind of windows of time. The construction schedules is what we're going to need so we can start pinning down some of these key milestone dates and start communicating those. So really the big message now to get out to everyone is that the project is advertising. It's an active procurement, and you'll really hear from the DOT side. We're going to stop talking because we don't want to get crossed up with any of the policies related to procurements. We're in the cone of silence. So unless it's related to an existing project, we're not going to be talking to contractors. And it's really not the best time to be having any sort of community session, because we don't know anything until we get the winning bidder in place and get their schedule.
Okay. Well, understood. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. But it's going to be all fun for the Department of Transportation and the Transportation Committee for the rest of 2021. All right. So that's that. Let's move on to Department of Aviation, your quarterly report. We have a short timer amongst us. Our General Manager, John Sheldon. He is in this is his last quarterly report with the Transportation Committee. John Sheldon is going to leave the city soon as an employee working at the airport. We appreciate your time here and your leadership. Your last day, I think, is April 3rd. So we will actually be on recess as a council for that week when you are on your final day. So I wanted to take this time to thank you for your leadership of the world's busiest airport, your respectfulness and always availability to this committee, and your timeliness, etc., has always been remarkable. So we appreciate you and thank you for all that you've done, and bid you, at the end of this quarterly presentation, this would be one of the last times we hear from you. So I just wanted to give that to you in advance.
Mr. Chairman, it's been my honor and privilege to lead this amazing facility and team we have here of City of Atlanta employees that make the heartbeat of this airport what it is. And the support of the City Council and has just been remarkable. I truly appreciate the visits at 11:30 at night to help fix some of our issues. And the support of everybody has always been very, very positive for Hartsfield-Jackson and our employees here out at the airport. I can't thank you enough for this amazing opportunity to work with such a professional group of city council members that just are remarkable and support this airport 100%. And I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'll get to my final quarterly report at this time. And if we can start with the first slide. And the focus of this report today, you'll see on the cover that we have a bunch of cargo. And cargo is really doing well here, especially in the second quarter of our fiscal year, which is October through December of 2020, going forward. And let's go to, I don't see any slides up on our screen, but I hope you do. I don't know if they're changing or not. We'll give it a second here. Ms. Palladini, are those the slides coming up, or?
If you can please continue, there's a delay in the live stream, so if you keep speaking, the slides will catch up automatically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next slide talks about our agenda, and then you'll see a picture of our hashtag ATL Strong and our ATL.com/ATL Strong, which is where all of our passengers and employees can go to find out the latest information about keeping everyone safe here at Hartsfield-Jackson and what the latest regulations are and how we are mitigating the spread of COVID-19. And the other picture you'll see is, yes, we are open, which is our marketing events here via ATL SkyPoint to communicate to our customers that there are about 60% of our concessions are open and ready for business, and you can find out exactly what are open if you go to that hashtag site. So let's go to the next slide. And the first slide I'm going to talk about is flight operations. And in 2019, for the first quarter, we had 234,000, and in 2020 we were 131,000, which was down 44%. We had some good months in October, November, and December, and in 2019 we had 221,000 flights, and we had 148,000. So we were only down 32% in the number of flights. So that's a good recovery. That the picture is changing for aviation and air travel throughout the country, and going from 44% down to 32% down in 3 months is a really good sign for us. Let's go to the next slide. And this diagram shows the picture of the year. And you can see the horrific drop in air traffic at the end of March through April, and then this gradual Nike swoosh with a little dip in September, but the recovery continues. And I will tell you today, last Sunday, we had 2,025 flights here. Normally we have about 24 to 2,500. So we're really coming back in the number of flights. And we actually had 50,000 passengers at our TSA checkpoint, which is only off by about 20,000 for a Sunday. So the numbers are coming back very, very strong. But our total number of flights for January through December of 2020 was 548,000, and in 2019 was 904,000, and that's 39% down. I will tell you that the 548,000 flights were the most in the United States. We beat Chicago. We were the #1 airport for the #1 flights, and once again, we did it safely and securely. So hats off to the team here on the airfield that just do an amazing job. Next slide, please. The next slide is the impact of COVID in our cargo operations. And it's really a really good story. And when you look at the data here in the slide, we're showing you that the cargo flights actually from 2020 to 2019 went down a little bit. They went down about 10% from 4,100 to 4,600, from 4,600 to 4,100, which is really a tremendous amount of cargo flights. And the issue there is that you have to look at the freighter weight. And that's the key indicator here. Are those cargo planes full? And yes, they were. So in the first quarter of 2020, we had 152,000 metric tons, and in the second quarter, 172,000 metric tons. And that is up 8.7% from that same quarter of fiscal of 2019. So tremendous growth here, considering that belly cargo is not in the same numbers we were, because we used to run 2,500 flights, and in the second quarter of our fiscal year, we were probably running about 1,500 flights. So all that belly lift and belly cargo was not there, but we still increased the metric tons 8%, which is just remarkable. We have tremendous growth in air cargo via e-commerce, and our freighter numbers, we have a tremendous amount of 747-800s here flying cargo from all around the world into here. And we also lift a lot of PPE, and we continue to do that as we fight COVID-19. Next slide, please. And the impact of cargo here on our operation, cargo services from our cargo handlers. October through December, all of our cargo was up. Obviously, it was the holiday season, but way up from the year before. Swissport, one of our major ground handlers, reported a 30% tonnage growth increase in their tonnage of cargo from December of 19 to December 20. Again, they also handle Amazon. Amazon right now, there's an error in the slide. We actually got SunTrust to charter. Amazon got Sun Country Airlines to charter a 737. So now we have 4 flights every day for Amazon flying in and out of here, and that is only going to grow. Swissport also increased their capacity, and they now serve another airline called TUI Air Cargo Airlines. So things are growing. I would tell you, if we had more warehouse space, which we do have an RFP out currently right now for a very large cargo development. Emirates came to us, airlines, with they were requesting 6 cargo flights, and Etihad, another cargo carrier from another airline, actually from the UAE, wanted to fly a flight in every day, and we had to deny that because we do not have the warehouse space to handle it. Secondly, our cargo handlers during COVID, like everybody else, had issues getting staffing because if somebody contracted the virus, the contract tracing and the quarantine. So they really had a difficult time handling this increase. And we only expect that as the virus mitigates, they'll be able to get more employees and have them 24/7 like they need, and be able to handle more cargo in the existing space we have. So cargo is a very good bright spot here for Hartsfield-Jackson, and the future only looks better. I think the airlines and the cargo companies and the cargo freighters are finally discovering, which we've been talking about for a long time, which is if you can get the cargo over to Hartsfield-Jackson, you can get it to anywhere in the country probably that same day. And with all of our passenger flights and filling the bellies up of those passenger flights, we know some of our airline partners are focusing on belly cargo going forward. It's an opportunity to generate additional revenue, and we expect great things going forward. Next slide. So the next slide represents our passenger traffic. The red line is our 2019 number, which was 110 million. And in December of 2020, we ended up the year with 42.9 million passengers here at Hartsfield-Jackson. Number 1 in North America. They're still counting for around the world. We may or may not. There's possibly one airport in China that might have beat us by a couple 100,000. That's the rumor, but we have not seen that. But our passenger traffic for 2020 was down 61% compared to the 2019. For the quarter, October to December, our passenger traffic in 2020 was 10.7 million, and in 2019 it was 19.3. So quite a drop off in our passenger traffic for our year going forward. Let's go to the next slide. So our total passengers for the quarter, like I said, was for 2021 is 10.6 million, and in 2020 was 27 million. So we're down 60.1%. And that's what you're going to see going forward throughout the brief here is for the quarter, we're down about 61%, 62%. So our passenger numbers are down significantly from quarter to quarter because this fiscal year 20, this quarter was pre-COVID. Next slide, please. Our originating passengers in fiscal year 2020 for the quarter, we had 5.4 million. In 2021, we had 2.1 million. Again, down 61%. And let's go to the next slide. For our gross concessions, and this is gross sales of our concessions and rental cars, for the quarter, this same quarter in fiscal year 2020, there was almost $328 million of gross sales in our concession and rental car. And in 2021, we were down to $125 million. Again, down 62%. Direct relation to the number of passengers that are coming to the airport stays consistent. I want to talk about, though, this number is slightly deceiving because our rental car was actually better than that 61% drop. But because of the lack of business travelers, our concession sales, our spend per passenger was down about $1 per passenger because the leisure traveler just does not spend the same as our business traveler. So their increase in rental car revenue for the quarter versus the decrease per spend per passenger kind of balanced it out right around 62%. So pretty good numbers considering they mirror where we are today. Next slide, which is our share of the concessions revenue. In 2020, we received $38 million, and fiscal year 2021 for the quarter, we received 10.7, and that's down 72%. And that's due to the relief that we provided our concessionaires in rent abatements and mag relief and drops in percentage rent and storage space. But we are able to pay our bills and make our expenses up with CARES dollars that we've received that I'll discuss a little later. And now let's go to the next slide. The next slide is our parking revenue. And in 2020, fiscal year 2020, for the second quarter, we had $36.5 million in revenue. And for this year in 2021, it was down to $15 million. And that's down about 59%. And the reason it's not down 60-something% is because of COVID-19, we brought the employees into the terminal area and allowed them to walk into the terminal. So our employee numbers that would have parked out on Camp Creek Parkway and been bussed in or our busing lots are all been closed. We are not busing any of our lots that have remote locations are closed, and we have brought everybody in. So the employee revenue helped us offset some of the losses that we would sustain, which should mirror a 62% drop. We only had a 59% drop, and that's due to the busing that we stopped to provide social distancing for our employees. Next slide, please. And the next slide here is it's our busy one. It's the busiest slide. And I'll talk about what our revenues and expenses are from our finance department. Our revenues through fiscal year 21, the second quarters, was $165.6 million. And that's a little bit over our budget, which is a good thing. We were $700,000 over our budget. Unfortunately, our revenues were down $130.5 million from the same quarter in fiscal year 20. Obviously, that's pre-COVID. To date, we've used $80 million in our fiscal year 20 budget of CARES dollars that's been allocated to us, which allows us to pay our expenses. And going forward in this fiscal year of 2021, we expect to use somewhere around $120 million of our CARES dollars going forward to pay our expenses and provide relief to our airline partners and concessionaires. So we're in a good position right now. Our expenses through fiscal year 21, our Q2, are $143.1 million. That is $24.6 million below what we budgeted, and we adjusted our budget that we presented to you in the end of June, July there, and we made significant cuts to our budget due to COVID, and we continue to find ways to reduce our expenses here at Hartsfield-Jackson, and that's $1.8 million less than our fiscal 20 budget. So we continue to look for ways to save money and generate revenue, and we're looking good for our fiscal year 2022 budget. I think you're going to see some innovative ways that we're going to reduce expenses and try to generate more revenue here at Hartsfield-Jackson. Let's go to the next slide, please. I think when you get to see the picture, it tells it all. This is our taxi and TNC trend analysis. You can see in March of 2020, I want to say Mount Everest drop in cars, TNCs and taxis, a very significant decline, and it still is looking better. It's coming back slowly, but not quite where it was before by any means. Let's go to the next slide, which we have specifics. In our 2020, we had 117,000 taxis for the quarter, and this year we had 21,000. That's an 82% drop in taxis for the quarter, which is significant from pre-COVID to COVID. Our TNCs went from 771,000 down to 207,000. The TNCs only dropped about 73%, but still tremendous drop-off in TNCs and taxis. Going forward, as the recovery happens, those numbers will come back very slowly. So let's go to the next slide, please. The next slide is our safety and security and our credentialing enhancements. And you can see we are doing an outstanding job. Every quarter, every month, we're doing over 10,000 almost. And in November, we did almost 15,000 badges. The average wait for customer in October was 15 minutes, 13 minutes in November, and in December was 11 minutes. Our goal is to complete everybody in 30 minutes, and our goal is 95%. And right now in October it was 97%, November was 99%, and in December it's 98%. And we really strive to get everybody the minimum wait time of 15 minutes. And we do that because we are opening, as our businesses are coming back, our concessionaires and all of the contractors, we are opening on Saturday and doing special badging sessions, and we also are providing badging on extended hours using overtime to get our employees back on the job. And this seems to be working very well in providing a good level of service to our contractors and employees here at Hartsfield-Jackson. Next slide, please. The next slide shows that we hired 25 new employees during the quarter, which is great. We're able to fill positions that we were unable to fill before, and that's good news for us. And virtual training has really proven to be something worthwhile. We had 413 employees get 16,520 hours of training. So we're really catching up a lot on our aviation core training and our sexual harassment and SMART goals training. Tremendous amount of virtual training going on. And we're looking good going into the quarter from a staffing and training perspective. We expect the training to continue here while we are still teleworking here. Right now, we currently have about 237 employees teleworking at the airport and about 450 mission critical at this time. Next page, please. We're going to get into our quick recap of our capital program. The first project I'd like to talk about opened towards the end of November of 2020. It was our $50 million 5-lane expansion of our South Security checkpoint. It was the first checkpoint to be fully converted to CT tomography scans, and we have our special ASL lines that have touchless bins. You can just put your briefcase or pocketbook in the bin. It slides automatically. It goes through the machine. When it gets to the other side, you just pull your pocketbook or suitcase or briefcase out of it, and the bin automatically stacks itself and returns to the end where the document checker is. If you leave something in the bin, it will actually beep once it gets to its specific location. So the lanes are great. We have all of our pre-check and TSA pre-check and clear pre-check people using it. It's just going to be great as our passengers come back, and the TSA has hired literally hundreds of additional TSOs, the officers, to staff the lanes and keep our weights down going forward. But this is an exciting time for us as our passengers begin to come back and we get ready for spring break and summer travel, which is looking very good. Next slide. The next slide is our pedestrian bridges. We have 3 of them open. The last one is going to open on the south side of June in 2021. It's a $55 million project. And we already can see passengers that are parking on the 4th deck of the garages and not wanting to cross the gauntlet of cars on the crosswalk on the road and using this crosswalk to get into the terminals. We are working on getting vertical circulation in our garages so we can actually close off the crosswalks on the roadway. So we force everybody up to use the pedestrian bridges there that we have, which will be much safer and a much better experience for our customers. But if you're interested in parking in the garage, park on the 4th deck and you can just walk right across without going up an escalator or an elevator. And we're excited for that. The next one is our big project, which is our Concourse T North expansion, which will open December of 2022, and it will provide 5 gates for United Airlines. It's $330 million. It's on schedule and it's on budget. There's 2 pictures here. The first picture is what it looks like today with our road that leaves the north terminal with the big bend in it that will connect it out to 85. And the next picture shows you a superimposed what the gates will actually look like down there, and that will provide 5 gates for American and 5 gates for American on Concourse T, which will get them off Concourse E, and United will be at the end. We're going to put RFP out here shortly for new concessions for that end of the terminal for United, and it's very exciting. This is going along very well at this point, and we are really looking forward to December 22. We'll have 5 additional gates, and the city will get some of its gates back, which we only have 1 at this time, and we should have 3. So that's good news for all of the airlines that want to come to Hartsfield-Jackson. We'll have some additional capacity in gates. The next slide you'll see is our Plane Train Tunnel West extension, which will complete in January of 2023. This is right here. This starts over by the plane train. There's a big hole in the ground on the west curb there, over there where the economy parking lot was. And you can see so far we have 310 feet of the tunnel long. This is going to make our plane train turn around faster and be able to give us more capacity without adding another train. We're also going to add 13 cars to this later once we get the tunnel finished. There's a bifurcation in the tunnel where it takes you from one side to the other side. We're about 115 feet away from that piece. The total tunnel is 645 feet long, and we've done about 310. So we're almost halfway there with the tunneling. We should hit the bifurcation piece here where it turns to the east side in September of 2021. This is going to be a great enhancement and also speed our passengers from gate to gate, which is always great because we have so much connecting traffic. Next slide. The next slide shows the blue canopies of Human Trafficking Awareness Month, which happened to be January. It's just a great signal. People always ask, what do the colors mean if they're unaware? And it's great to get people's awareness for human trafficking, to stop it. And we do a really good job here at Hartsfield-Jackson, considering the volume of traffic. Human trafficking program here is first rate. I think it's the best in the country, and our team that manages it does a great job. And that concludes it. I'm here for questions if there are any, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Selden, for that report. It's good to see the consistency of our activities related to COVID. The number of passengers almost mirroring the decrease in passengers, almost mirroring the decrease in certain other activities, which lets us know that that COVID has affected these operational challenges more so than any other factor, of course, and that we've been bearing with it and making good decisions related to rent and all the other operations that we've been doing and continuing great construction projects during the pandemic and delivering them on time and under budget. Or on budget or under budget. So I'm grateful that we've been able to do that. So there's a couple of speakers. Miss Marcy Carly Overstreet is first.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair Dickens. Mr. Selden, couple things. First, I just want to thank you for your service over this last year, and since you've been on board as our GM for the airport, it has really been a pleasure working with you. You've been so responsive, and your upbeat, wonderful nature has been a treat. So who's washing dishes? Please mute. But yeah, it has really been a treat, and so I'm going to really miss you as GM. I really am. I'm sure the next person will do a great job, but I love your energy and your knowledge and your process, and it has really been a joy. So, congratulations for your next adventure, but we're going to miss you. We really are. Listening to your presentation, I heard all of your ways of managing expectations, which is another one of your, good attributes. And I know that we're seeing on TV every day how many people are now flooding the airport compared to last year. And I appreciate your presentation, with trying to make sure that you're managing expectations and really looking at the hard facts instead of, just those broad numbers that we see day to day on the news and elsewhere, because at the end of the day, we really do have a climb still to get back to where we were before COVID. And I appreciate you managing our expectations, because we all want to, flip the switch and we're back to normal. But we've really undergone a lot in this last year. So it really is more of a toggle, and it's not going to be a switch flip. And I understand that. So thank you for that. And again, thank you for just making sure that Atlanta has stayed on track and doing the work that we're supposed to do in the fashion that we're accustomed to doing it, because that's why we're the busiest and the most efficient. So thank you again.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. And, we look at 2019 and we had 110 million, and this year, I've said this before, I know it's only March, but I think we're going to be somewhere, 50 plus million. It would be tough to get back that quick, but I'm much above that. It may happen due to the rollout of the vaccine and how fast it happens. And our airline partners, I think, will eventually start filling middle seats. But these airlines have retired hundreds of planes. I believe somewhere, just the people that fly here, the airlines that fly here have retired, I think, 400 planes. So there's just not as much tin out there as there was. And it's going to be, like you said, we have to manage this expectation that we're going to be operating, 50, 55 million passengers this year, which is about 50%. So, we should accelerate that speed of recovery going forward. And we look forward, and we'll be ready here at Hartsfield-Jackson to handle it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Overstreet. Next is Mr. Westmoreland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions or comments about the presentation. I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Selden for your service. You have always been exceptionally quick to reply whenever anything has come up. I was at the airport on Sunday. I was one of your Sunday crowd people, and saw the South expansion work that was just really well done, and know that the airport has been in good hands over the last 2 years, and appreciate 2+ years, and appreciate all that you have done, and wish you the best in your next venture in the Middle East, and look forward to seeing you next time you're back in Atlanta. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. And I will be back in Atlanta. My family is staying in Atlanta here while I go overseas.
Good to hear.
All right, next is Mr. Faruqi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. To echo Councilmember Westmoreland, Mr. Selden, you have been a world-class GM for a world-class airport, and it's been a pleasure to work with you, especially during a time in which the aviation industry has had an unprecedented kind of seismic shift in demand and safety and protocol. And so I think we've been very lucky to have your steady hand at the ship navigating the airport through this challenging last 13 months or so. And I'm very excited for the work you're going to get to influence in Saudi and the project that is kind of world-class in its own right. And so looking forward to following your work. And obviously you always have, not just because your family's here, but you always have a place in Atlanta. So thank you for your leadership, and I think we all look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it.
All right, Mrs. Ives.
Thank you, Chairman Dickens. I'll just echo my colleagues in that you've been exceptional while you've been here. You've been fantastic to work with. We should have had a proclamation today and a band and a reception. But you really have been such a pleasure to work with on the Transportation Committee and on finance. I think all of us need to reflect on what we did right in getting you here and what we did wrong and letting you be lured away by somebody else, because you've really been a shining star, and we will miss you. Good luck on your next adventure, and it's good to hear you'll be back in Atlanta.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the Navy reference. Thank you.
All right, last speaker is Mr. Mazzucati.
Thank you, Chairman Dickens. I'll jump on the bandwagon here, throwing bouquets. Mr. Selden, we really have appreciated your service to the city. It was always wonderful to know that our airport, no matter what challenges we faced, and we faced some significant challenges with COVID, as well as being the busiest and most efficient airport, that you were at the helm, and we had utmost confidence in you and your team, and it is a team effort, and we really appreciate all that you've done for our city. You will be missed. I was thinking that we would have, fire hoses going across the runway to celebrate your service here. So maybe we can see about making that happen. I look forward to seeing you as you pass through Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right, Mr. Selden, thank you so much for your leadership. Again, as I said earlier, you've been a fantastic general manager, very accessible. You got a good team there. I hope they all stay in place. I know there's some candidates internal that are, potential for taking your place, or at least taking the same position you were in as a general manager. So best of luck to them. There's a lot of good staff and folks over there in our airport. I look forward to speaking with you, after April 3rd about, just continual improvements that we can make to our airport. It's great. We are the world's busiest. We're the world's most efficient. We just won yet another customer service award, and a number of other great things, but we want to keep it there. So we want to make sure we keep employee morale, make sure we keep leadership satisfied, and of course all our customers and vendors and concessionaires, our passengers, our airlines, all of them are top of mind. So look forward to your, I don't know if general managers leave a note on the desk like presidents do, but just email me whatever you're thinking. And we'll take notes. All right. You take care, and see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. So, council members, that concludes our legislative agenda and all of the presentations for today. And we are due for a recess. So let the fun and games begin. There are no objections. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
No objection. Thank you.
All right, bye.